Harry's latest appearance makes the audience extremely worried. Is he okay? Hello friends. Welcome to breaking royal news about the notorious hypocritical couple, Harry and Meghan Markle, on the Royal Trust channel. Has anyone inquired about Harry's well-being? I understand that many people have a negative opinion of him and believe he has brought this upon himself, but the recent photos of Harry are quite concerning. Regardless of your view of him, the period around the anniversary of a loved one's passing is always emotionally challenging and brings up various feelings. Now, picture dealing with this difficult time when you have openly discussed your mental struggles as candidly as Harry has. Yet, your spouse, who seems unusually insensitive, drags you out to be photographed at a Beyoncé concert just to avoid appearing unsavory while you're grappling with your pain. Observing Harry at that concert, he appears deeply unhappy. Why isn't she providing him with comfort or assistance? She isn't even engaging with him or including him. I can almost predict the response. It's not her responsibility to coddle him. If he is genuinely miserable in that situation, why doesn't she take him home? Regardless of what you think of him, she is his wife, and that's a commitment she made. If she can't show him even a hint of compassion during this period, perhaps it's time for them to consider divorce. I don't advocate feeling sorry for him. Reserve your genuine compassion for someone who deserves it. I suspect he may exploit mental health issues to portray himself as a victim, potentially using it as a get-out-of-jail-free card if he attempts to reconcile with Britain and the royal family in the future. It's more of an excuse than a genuine reason, similar to how he has exploited his mother's tragic death. We should not forget the falsehoods he has spoken and the actions he has taken throughout his life. He has displayed a range of negative traits such as nastiness, cruelty, unkindness, envy, arrogance, racism, misogyny, entitlement, smugness, hypocrisy, treachery, and manipulation of people's trust, often concealing his true intentions with a sly smile when he believes he has deceived them. He has long played the role of the vulnerable, motherless little prince and has gotten away with numerous questionable behaviors. Witnessing his recent behavior, I am surprised that the palace courtiers who managed his public image were so effective in their jobs. While William is not significantly older than Harry, he appears more mature, kind, and generally more caring and responsible. The individuals most likely to genuinely worry about him are the dedicated staff who used to work for him in the palace and his family members. Unfortunately, they are now compelled to maintain a neutral and distant stance towards him. Harry's an absolutely awful enraged bully of a human being and he completely deserves it. He wanted a Markle to enrage and humiliate his family. I do believe he loved her, or however close he can come to that. And he is being abused for sure by her, and I would have felt terrible for him, and empathized with him, because I too have been with a raging narc. But I didn't try to destroy, humiliate, rage and torment my own family. He did. Markle was a means to a horrible end for Harry. Apart from his many faults, he also is a raging elitist. Yet chose the one woman who has no breeding and background, all to enrage his family and play the racist card on them. Sorry, but after all that he's done to his loving family, he deserves this. Being a delusional elitist egomaniac did him no favors. Hopefully, this will teach him humility and how not to try to destroy the only people who love him. Because God knows, no one else can love Harry. Meghan really shined the light on the poor pitiful orphan by being out and partying the day after the anniversary of his mother's passing. Way to show what a shill this whole saga is. His family are in Scotland and are mourning the passing of Her Majesty the late Queen respectfully. If his plight of being an orphan is truly his purpose for living, he would have added sackcloth and ashes to his repertoire and made a really big show of mourning Mummy not showing up for a photo op at a concert. That's one thing about Meghan, she just openly gets on with the business of openly being the evil wife without a lot of whining, blaming others, and making excuses like Harry does. She does her share of those things, but it's not like she spends a lot of time there, like Bunker Harry does. He is, by far, the worst of the two because he almost acts like he knows, deep down, he's a piece of shit yet looks for reasons to excuse it, while she's apparently not all that much aware of herself. She's the one he ditched all his former friends and associates for and backstabbed his family for. Sweet of her to take him to a concert to get his mind off things, very empathetic of her. Who wouldn't want to go to a loud crowded venue to dance and listen to music they don't like on the anniversary of their mum's death? Clearly, she isn't concerned, so neither will I be. Also, he is a repugnant nasty cretin, so tbh I pretty much think he deserved to be a miserable bitch. He went looking, and he can deal with the consequences of his choices. A royal commentator observed, Harry appears deeply shocked and distressed, while Meghan seems openly delighted about it. I believe she pressured him into attending the concert to showcase him publicly, while she danced awkwardly, wearing a wide grin and seemingly ignoring her husband, who appeared quite upset, resembling someone who just received bad news. Her lack of awareness is striking. She doesn't seem to grasp the cruelty and malice she exudes. She successfully isolated Harry from his friends and family, eliminating his support network, a goal she likely had in mind. He bears responsibility for his predicament because he insisted on marrying her despite the advice of others, which must be difficult for him to confront now. Individuals like him often exhibit a self-centered mindset, struggling to comprehend the pain they've caused to loved ones like William and Charles. In his perspective, he sees himself as the victim and desires acknowledgement and agreement from them, even though differing opinions are valid. Engaging with such toxic individuals is generally unproductive, as they tend not to change. The royal family, in a sense, sacrificed him to mitigate potential issues caused by Meghan. I don't believe they escaped to freedom, as I suspect Meghan was escorted out of the country before the Sandringham summit, during which Harry received a stern message. It's regrettable, old chap, but you must accompany her for the family sake. You've made your bed, so you must lie in it. Well, grant you a year to disentangle yourself and return like the prodigal son. However, if further controversy arises or if you exceed the time limit, you're on your own, akin to the Duke of Windsor. Upon reuniting with Meghan and realizing the extent of her premeditated plans, such as relocating to LA, appearing on Oprah, securing book deals, etc., he likely understood there was no turning back. His personality type may have fueled his subsequent anger and bitterness, leading him to fully immerse himself in their actions. Now, it seems he may be experiencing remorse, not necessarily driven by noble intentions but due to the recognition of the substantial losses he has endured, resulting in self-pity. A member of the royal audience expressed their dislike for Harry, finding him detestable, even before his relationship with Meghan. They hope that he faces the consequences of his actions but acknowledge a sense of intrigue regarding the relationship's dynamics, which they find unsettling. I do feel a bit of sympathy for him because, as unpleasant and self-centered as he is, it appears that Meghan holds most of the power in their marriage. It's not a far-fetched idea to say that she may have psychologically manipulated him. While he comes across as whiny and should know better, I am genuinely concerned for him, and even more so for the children, because no one, even the worst individuals, should have to deal with a potentially abusive partner. Perhaps Meghan had said something that temporarily changed his behavior. I've learned that narcissists can occasionally give their victims brief reprieves during the devaluation phase. The numerous pictures of him looking disheartened suggest that he wasn't truly happy. There's another image of him with his arm around her waist while Beyoncé sang a love song. She was happily singing along and swaying to the music, but he stood still, gazing straight ahead. It seemed as if she had coerced him into this physical gesture against his will. In essence, she's a narcissist, and he's a deeply flawed individual. It's unlikely they have a content and harmonious marriage, regardless of their public appearances. This doesn't necessarily mean they will divorce soon or want. Nonetheless, I hope they remain together. They seem like a fitting match for each other. As long as they stay together, it's improbable that he will reconcile with the royal family, which is quite appealing because the royal family appears much happier and at ease without his presence. Additionally, their joint actions seem to be mutually detrimental, and I find that rather satisfying. While separately, Meghan might still be capable of manipulating an older, wealthy individual to fund her ambitions for a few more years. Together they will likely remain the subject of ridicule, Much like a joke from South Park. I wish for them to remain together at least until she reaches the age of 55. It would be interesting to see her attempt to maintain her youthful image as a divorced, menopausal former Hollywood hopeful. By that time, she will have likely depleted him of every bit of what made him even remotely attractive. He'll be balder, even more embittered, equally foolish, and still dealing with the same physical issues. While there might be a slight chance of one or the other staging a comeback separately, their union seems destined to lead them further down the path of failure and obscurity. I genuinely hope they reach a point where they have no choice but to fade away quietly. Another individual shared their perspective, saying, "I can't help but acknowledge there's something about Harry that resonates with people who have a strong sense of empathy. It's possible he possesses a similar compassionate energy to Diana's, or perhaps he knows how to manipulate us into feeling sympathy for him. It could even be a combination of both. Even some of my family members, who don't closely follow news about Harry and Meghan, still hope that he will summon the courage to exit the marriage. They believe that they'll return to supporting him once he acknowledges his shortcomings and recommits himself to serving the people in the UK, following in the footsteps of his grandmother. Personally, I am not fond of his frequent use of mental health and his mother's memory to gain public sympathy. I also feel a sense of pity for him as an elder sibling who recognizes his tendencies to act in a helpless manner. Ultimately, I am relatively indifferent to his life, marriage, business endeavors, or social status, but I don't want to see him in harm's way. Perhaps that's what you're sensing as well. I genuinely wish for him to experience humility, rather than portraying himself as a victim and repeatedly sharing his perceived victimization with the world. The key questions to consider might be: is he appearing distressed and unhappy because his wife is lacking in compassion? Does he feel trapped by his assertive spouse? Or is his distress stemming from not getting his way? Does he still wish to stubbornly outdo his brother? Is he disappointed that his documentary didn't restore his former status as Mr. Popularity, which he believes he deserves? There's no easy answer. Harry remains a complex figure, evoking a range of mixed emotions. I believe the general public would welcome him back like the return of the prodigal son if he were to detach from this toxic marriage. However, he needs to act swiftly, as that opportunity is rapidly closing. Regardless, it's evident that Meghan is the one who appears emotionally detached and has never truly inquired about her husband's well-being. To be frank, they are currently in a trial separation, but Meghan is allowing him to accompany her to events like this for the sake of appearances. It's likely that she's placing blame on him for everything and taking any opportunity to hurt him emotionally. Having been in a marriage with a narcissist myself, I wouldn't be surprised if she said or did something before or during that concert to deliberately make him miserable. I understand that my sympathy for him might not be a popular sentiment. He left behind everything he knew, having been groomed, manipulated, and made to appear foolish, only to be discarded. He fell right into the trap, and while I don't excuse his bad behavior, I can empathize with it. You're conditioned to do anything to please the narcissist and gain their affection, even if it means settling for mere crumbs. She has likely been and will continue to make his life incredibly challenging until he wakes up and comprehends the situation. He will have a considerable mess to clean up, amends to make, and a healing and grieving process to undergo. I genuinely hope for this for him. My speculation about Harry revolves around whether he possesses, or once possessed, a better, kinder side. I wonder if, at some point, he'll come to terms with his temper issues and work on overcoming them. It seems to me that Harry, before Meghan entered the picture, had friends and family who supported and cared for him in a way that doesn't align with the arrogant and petulant behavior we've witnessed over the past 5 years. Of course, since being with Meghan, he has seemingly given in to every negative impulse, and I believe she has encouraged this behavior. Ultimately, their relationship will come to an end, and Harry will likely hit rock bottom. When that time comes, provided he survives the experience, will he be willing to humble himself and seek assistance? Will he be capable of acknowledging his mistakes? I believe his family would be willing to take care of him, even if it means isolating him in a cottage where he can avoid public view, but they wouldn't let him suffer. Harry is often compared to the prodigal son, but there's a significant difference. The prodigal son repented and, upon his return, wished to be treated as a servant. I have doubts about whether Harry is capable of such humility and change. What do you think about a guilty Harry, and does he deserve forgiveness? Let us know your thoughts below in the comment section. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this newsletter. See you in the next videos. Goodbye.